Boy, you know you make me float. Boy, you really get me high. Ooh, that's you.
What's up, friends? We're back. We're Black and Curious. I'm Kandron.
Hey now, it's Dehjai, and we're gonna talk Insecure. Have you been watching? I hope you have, because this is about to be a bit of a spoiler.
Yeah, spoiler alert all over the place, but we're like 2 weeks behind, so it's fine.
You should have watched by now.
Please. And just a heads up, all of our beauty deets and our cocktails are down below in the comments or in the description box. Sorry. Insecure, episodes 3 and 4. What say
So
you?
3 was Lawrence, and 4 was about Nathan. Man, I feel like this show Insecure is my life, because I think that someone else that I dated is a Nathan. In the sense that, like,
About that, yeah.
in the sense that, like, he does the disappearing shit. And I had suspected, like, forever ago, like, whenever I met him, that he might have some sort of, like, thing going on, mental health wise. Like, no, that's an off-color joke. I'll have to tell you that offline, friend.
Okay.
Save that for the text message thread. But we were all kind of like, a lot of my friends work within the mental health field. And talking about some of the experiences that I've had with this person, they all kind of had the same consensus that he might suffer with some sort of, like, depression or, like, anxiety, which are normal things. Like, nobody is like, at some point in your life you will have experienced such, is my belief.
Yeah.
But like Nathan, in a sense that there's a level of surety that you see presented to you, but, like, once you really get into the nitty-gritty of it all, it's really not that. It's like the Clueless thing. It's a Monet. It's beautiful from a distance, but up close, it's a mess. So that's that on that.
Okay. So why don't we go back to episode 3 and talk Lawrence and Condola?
Convalescence.
Yeah. Yikes. Sorry, y'all. Okay. Whose side are you on? Like, how do you feel about their relationship and how it's shaking out and them parenting and all of that?
I controversially, I guess, am on Lawrence's side. This face, you're obviously on Convalescent's side.
I actually am not.
I was like, what?
We are both on the controversial side.
Okay.
For the most part. There are some things where I'm like,
yeah, for sure.
You clown. No. But other stuff I'm kind of like, well.
I'm on his side because Condola made the decision to have this child. Yes. And told him, you can be a part or you cannot. That is your choice.
That's the part.
And when he has, like, I from the experience that that has been shared with me with friends who have children and who, either are married or just have had, children in relationships, period. They have also stated that the man is really not, some of them have been super hands-on while the woman is pregnant and talking to the belly and all that kind of stuff. But, like, some of them have been kind of standoffish until the baby came here. And then it was, like, instant, like, all about it. And so I think that Lawrence is the latter. He's like, okay, now the child is here, because, like, that would have required some sort of intimacy between him and Convalescence in order for him to be there in that way, to know all that stuff. And there wasn't, because he was angry. Because basically she took his choice from him to a degree. Like,
well, I don't think,
I think that she took his choice from him to a degree, in the sense that she was like, well, I'm going to have this child and you can be here or not be, which is basically saying, like, I'm going to push you out. I'm not giving you the option. I'm going to say it, but I don't mean it.
Well, I think that's the problem more than anything, is that she said it and she didn't mean it.
Mm-hmm.
And,
So
or
that's
you
what I
know
mean by
what?
the choice.
And not shade on her either, because I think sometimes people, especially, you know, women, seems like Condola's doing well for herself. She's probably just like, I can handle it. I'm gonna be fine. I'll be fine. My mom, my sister will come down. They'll be around as much as they can, and I'll handle it the rest of the time. And she quickly realized that she needs help. And instead of saying to Lawrence very clearly, hey,
I mean,
here is how you can help, it was like, well, you can be involved as much as you want, or be involved if you want. And that left a lot of doors open for him to be like, well, what does that mean? Of like, okay, I'd like to come to the doctor's appointments. I'd like to have a say in the name, but you already picked the name. I'd like to have a say in the thing, but you've already picked the thing. So it's just leading to a bunch of miscommunication when all she had to say was, I would like your help, and here's how you can help. And also with Lawrence, because he is not absolved from this, he should say, this is how I'd like to be involved. Does that work for you? Is there something else I can do? Like, it's a lot of miscommunication because they left things so vague, and because they weren't even in a relationship really.
no. They had ended, and then what, 2 weeks later, or maybe a month later, she's like, oh, I'm pregnant.
Yeah. And so they never even had that basis to go off of like even a straight friendship to be able to be like, okay, like they're going to have to get to know each other throughout this process as well. Wow. So, you know, and I think Condola being, you know, a new mother or whatever, she's being very, very snappy. Even when he fed the kid the vegetables, carrots or whatever that were on the table, like I got it, but at the same time, like the reaction was very, very big. And it's like, listen, I'm not saying that was the right thing to do, but like Black people been doing that stuff to kids forever. And like a simple conversation of like, hey, we have to right, don't do this, or we have to do this a certain way. Not like, give me back my baby. It was just like, oh my god, y'all need to work on this. Huh?
It was giving me, girl, you look like a psycho.
Yeah. And like, listen, sleep deprivation, all the things that come along with new motherhood. And funny enough, on the after show, she was up there and she was like, she up there with Lawrence? I don't remember. Anyways, she was on the after show and she was actually postpartum. So yeah, so she, like for in real life, so she was like the emotions were easily accessible, and she like legit did not even talk to Jay Ellis for like 2 days after the whole filming of that. Like, I can't even look at you. Like, she was still in her feelings about it. So like, I just felt like yeah, I just felt like it was like a series of misunderstandings, and that they have got to get on the same page. And it seems like that they are committed to that, at least after his little scare in there.
Yes, but I just feel like there's more in that episode to unpack a little bit. Like, so yeah, for me, I was listening to the Therapy for Black Girls, Dr. Joy Branford Hardin. Is that right?
Joy Hardin Bradford or something like that.
I was butchering. I'm sorry, but Therapy for Black Girls. And she had Dr. Oriolo, who is also another, I think she's a LPC. The credentials, I could be mistaken. So apologies to those of you that already listened to her podcast. But they were talking about that same episode. And Dr. Oriolo was giving me a lot. And like, I heard her point, but it was just kind of like, girl, like you are going in so hard on Lawrence as though this was not a decision that, well, yes, the two of them laid down together. And I think from the last season, he was like, well, how did that happen? Like, we used protection or whatever the case may be. And so whatever, I think
whatever happened.
But like, he wasn't going into that situation to make a child, and neither was she. But then, of course, she ended up pregnant. And so, like we already stated, Condola wanted to have this child and told him that you can be here, you cannot be here. Like, it's a, you know, whatever. But she was just going in on him so bad about like his choice to be in San Diego or San Francisco, and his doing all the things that he has going on within his life while Condola is being a single parent. But like, baby girl, like that's the choice that she made.
Right. And they never had a
conversation.
Yeah, and they never had another conversation anywhere during the pregnancy that we are aware of to say, hey, like this has changed. And and how is this going to work? Like, as far as I was concerned, I'm in agreement with you. It seemed like Condola was very much like, I am going to be a single mother. And if you want to pop by and see the kid every now and again, that's fine.
Right. And like, okay, if that's what you're designed to, cool. Yeah. But like, you can't then also be mad at him for doing literally what you said.
Yeah. And
I hate the fact that like he's trying to be a part in whatever way he can, considering that he lives a flight away. Like that's an 8-hour drive if you drive from LA to San Francisco, or 7 hours, something like that. Mm-hmm. And so like he's trying to make sure that he's there on the weekends and he's flying back and forth, and who knows how fucking much that costs to fly every weekend to LA.
Yeah.
And then like this idea that you don't trust him, like why don't you trust him? Yeah, like that's the thing that threw me. Like, you don't trust him because of a choice that you made, because he had already told you that he had gotten that job and that he was going to San Francisco. So to be so up in arms about how he's trying to be a part now, you knew this already. You just didn't know the magnitude of what life was going to be like once it was just you and that little man. You know, like, I don't know. I just feel all types of ways. And it don't help that I already just don't like convalescence, but whatever. I didn't like her until she got in the way of Issa and Lawrence. Before that, she was great. I loved her. She's a wonderful addition to the show.
Yeah. I think even the tone of her conversation when she told Lawrence that she was pregnant, it was very much like,
matter of fact.
It was like, this is my choice. This is my baby. If you want to be involved, like, whatever.
Oh, girl, what you mean?
Like, go on and live your life. And if you decide to pop by for birthdays, come on by. Like, it was very much that. And I just felt like you don't get to undo that conversation with snipes and with rude comments and overreactions. Like, you don't get to undo. You guys need to sit down and have a conversation. Like, obviously something has changed. Either you don't want him involved, or the thing that's changed is that you realize you need him involved. But something has changed, and a changed circumstance requires a conversation.
It does. It really, really and truly does. And so how do you feel? Because this was a thought that I had. I feel like Lawrence should have just been like, okay, well, if this is what you want to do, I can't stop you. So I'm going to sign over my parental rights.
I mean, I think that's a very personal decision. It's not like Lawrence is this is going to sound bad, but it's not like Lawrence has his stuff together. Like, he has money, it seems like, at least to be able to be flying back and forth. Now he has money. He has his finances together. Like, he doesn't want to be that type of person who signs away. He doesn't want to be a deadbeat sort of guy, or something.
In that regard, you're not a deadbeat.
I know, but what I'm saying is he doesn't want to be that guy. Like, he wants to be involved. Like, he actually wants to be involved. So it's just a matter of having that having additional conversations to figure out where you fit in. Mm-hmm. I think that's the error on both of their sides.
Yeah, there was never a conversation had. Got it. Like, totally agree. Yeah. But I also feel like with the way, like, I don't know, my watching that, I was just kind of like, at this point, with the way the shit is rolling and him not being a part, he should have just gone ahead and signed over. Like, you know what, you want to have this child, I'm not going to be a part. Because
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't, if I were a man and I knew that there was somebody walking around that I helped to make, I don't think that I would just be like, well, since you're not going to get along with me in the first
but no, not because of that. I'm not saying
like, I don't think I would be. Yeah, I don't think.
No. I'm not saying it because of that. His stance when they talked about it last season was like, I'm not ready to be a parent. Like, this is not what I wanted. And then in this episode, he was talking to.
Not ready to be
the crazy man, his crazy friend, I forgot his name, but he was talking to him and he was just kind of like, this is not how I wanted my first child to come into the world, or like, this is not the situation. And so for me, it's just kind of like, I had the thought, like, you know what, in this instance, I could see why it would make sense for someone to sign over their parental rights to the person who really wanted to be the parent.
I mean, I can agree with you on that, but I don't think that's the situation we're in right now. It just seems like he wanted a different beginning for his
For
parents.
sure, yeah, I totally agree with you on that.
As a person who came from an very unplanned situation, you know, hey.
See, here's the thing. I would rather it be signed over to the parent who wants to be the parent than for it to be like those of us who have grown up knowing that they have a parent out there who just was never around for whatever reasons that happened between the two parents. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's, I don't know. I guess like in that way, it to me, it's no different than if a child is, or a woman goes to the sperm bank and gets like a donor, and then you just sign off the stuff and there you go. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I liken it to that same experience. And I'm not to say, and I know that's a controversial take, and I'm sure people will drag me for that, but it's just kind of like, in that instance, like, because Condola literally
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I just don't think that's the situation we have before us, of thinking like, if that's what he wanted to do, I think there would have been a legitimate conversation for that. But at the same time, that's not what he wanted. Like, he clearly wants to be involved. Like, he clearly is uncomfortable with this child existing and him not being in this kid's life. And so now the question is how to make it work. Mm-hmm. So I hope that in future episodes that we get to see, I mean, I know there aren't but so many, but I hope that we get to see them work it out and get to a better place. I don't know if he's going to end up moving down, or if they're just going to have better boundaries about what is expected and what's allowed.
I almost feel like, because he seemingly could be like because San Francisco is a very expensive city, and that apartment he lives in looks like it's beautiful. You can see, like, I think you can see the bridge, right? I wonder if it's going to be one of those situations where like Condola moves to San Francisco so that the children can be closer. Mm-hmm. And then if that happens, like, how's that shit gonna look when all the friends come together for the functions around Tiffany's child? The other thing that threw me too was like at the end of that episode, or where she was freaking out about the baby eating something off the children's table. How, like, is Condola one of Tiffany's line sisters? Like, why do they know each other? Why was Condola at that birthday soiree? I don't remember that.
Work together or something. I know that she did come in the circle through Tiffany, because I believe
because Tiffany connected her with Issa.
Tiffany. Yeah. And I think, yeah, exactly. So I think that she's there because of Tiffany, but I don't remember what their exact relationship was.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm like, was she like another AKA sister or something like that? I feel like maybe that's what the connection is, but I could be making it up.
Yeah, I don't remember. So yeah, that's pretty much, that was the big stuff of that episode. I do feel like this season is a little bit, it's not drawing me in like the other seasons have, and I think it's a little bit disjointed, and I think that's by design. Like, they're doing deep dives on these characters, but it's not holding my attention as much as it has previously.
It's holding my attention like episode by episode, I guess, in the sense that like I'm wanting more, like that 30 minutes, 38 minutes that they give us. Yeah. I just feel like it's not enough. I do agree with it being disjointed, because like it's happening so fast. To me, it just feels like they're trying to wrap up these stories.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know we got to wrap it up because this is the last season, but I don't want y'all to wrap it up. Not like this.
It's just being disjointed, and I'm used to seeing more of everybody. And like, I'm finding myself, I used to be like, oh, I don't have HBO Max, but like Monday morning, I'm getting ready to watch Insecure. And I'm finding myself like, oh, I guess I better go watch Insecure so we can review it on the thing. Like, I'm
That's
not,
not good.
it's not giving. So, anyways, let's move on to episode 4. You talked a little bit about Nathan. I thought it was interesting to see Nathan's cousin and that whole interaction.
Figuring out that he been there, like Nathan has been in
Yeah.
LA for like what 2 or 3 years or something like that, and so he stayed with them for the first 2 years, and Issa like, you got family here?
Yeah, but we find out at the end it was like he was in a manic state while he was there,
Yeah.
while he was living with his cousin, and basically his cousin used his wife as a scapegoat to kick him out, essentially, which I was like,
That's trifling. But I know women who, hell, I am one of them. If in a situation my partner or even my friend feels a way about communicating something to someone else, I'd be like, well, don't worry about it, I'll do
yeah.
it.
Also, they're cousins, so I'm sure she didn't want to damage their relationship. She's just like, I'll take the L so you can hopefully get back to a better place at some point.
Yeah. And I think that's really what it is. Because I think that in the way that she was trying to make light and kind of be jovial with him, it was just awkward. That whole scene was just really super awkward.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder, like, how things will recover going forward, because like the cousin left and Nathan still hasn't said anything to him about what's really going on. You invited him out here to this function, and obviously you guys were really, really close at one point for you to be living with him.
Mm-hmm.
But like, you don't want to tell him that you have like a serious medical condition that caused all that happened.
Yeah. I think it was probably just a warm up, kind of like, let me feel the air out. If he shows up, like at least he's open, and then maybe we can have some deeper conversations. But I think he could have told the cousin right then and there, but also, listen, it's not necessarily the best time either when you're out and about with friends or whatever,
Yeah. But like, I guess when it was just the two of them, and even still, like, that's not the time to say anything. True. But I wonder, like, if he had been like, you know what, at that time I was in a really low place.
Yeah.
And like, I want to talk to you about it, but like, what was happening was out of my control.
Right.
To at least give him like a nugget of like, what you think you know, you don't actually know. Like, your experience of it is your experience, but there was more to it than that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think that would have been a good place to start, but his cousin had already ordered the Uber. He was already done for the night, and I can also understand being like, let's just wait on that. Or he may have been experiencing his own emotions too. It seemed like he was very emotional even when he was talking to Issa, so he might have been going through it himself and maybe reliving a time. And so he maybe wants to get to a better place, or a place where he's better able to articulate to his cousin.
I think that at the point that we're at now, where he and Issa have developed this friendship over the year, I think that he is more stable, but he's also been medicated for like a year, basically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so he's not really experiencing the manic stages as he once did.
Yeah.
So let's talk Issa and Nathan. How do you feel about that?
I don't like it. I want Issa to go find someone new. I don't like this.
This is why I say I'm Issa. I mean, just sticking
I
to
love
the
adult
same and streams that I'm used to.
Yeah,
or at least I have. I'm not doing that now.
I don't think there's anything wrong with doubling back, but like if it's for a purpose, like a short-term purpose, or someone has actually put forth a lot of effort to get back into your good graces. And I think she just keeps doubling back out of convenience.
Well, I think that Nathan generally put a lot of effort to get back in her good graces because of what happened. He told her that he was, bipolar, and like he proceeded to, especially the last season, try to, be apart until she made a decision that she was going to try to work things out with Lawrence.
Right.
And then he was like, okay, well, I guess that we'll just be friends. And he, even though that's not what he wanted, he maintained like being friends, because here we are a year later, and like she's helping him do stuff with the barbershop and like coming to his functions or whatever else have you.
But that's what I mean. Like he made it a point to get back into her good graces as far as a friendship, and he's been a good friend to her. Yeah. But I just feel like she's just doubling back. Like Nathan has been a good friend to her. Like leave it at that. Leave it. Just leave it.
But it's hard to leave something at that when you still have feelings and connection, because Issa, as much as he did, had like attachments of some sort to him.
Yeah, of course. I'm not saying that she didn't have any attachment to him or whatever, or there isn't a reason. I just feel like, okay, enough. Like you double back to Lawrence, you double back now to Nathan. Like you guys were in a good place. This doesn't even feel like the right timing. And if I'm Nathan, I'm like, no, because you're not going to just keep using me as the fallback. Like, I'm not doing that with you. Go date someone else. And listen, this doesn't even have to be a Nathan proving himself to Issa. I feel like this is a Issa proving herself to Nathan, like, of why I should even be entertaining you in this space. You left me for another dude. We're in this friend zone. You cried in my mouth. You invited me over to allegedly cuddle. Like all of this stuff. Like, no, you owe it to him to work back into his good graces, because you've been moving like kind of reckless as it pertains to Nathan, as far as I am concerned.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you there.
So yeah. I don't know. I just wish she would stop going back to the same three people. Like before it was Daniel, it was like Daniel and Lawrence. It was just that. And then it was Lawrence.
That guy on Yael, whatever his last name is, he is a good looking chocolate young brother.
But yeah, like doubling back is just too much for me. Like move on sometimes. And that's how you learn new stuff about yourself, is moving on.
Yeah, but it's just not that easy. As someone
I never said it was easy. I'm just saying, I never said it was easy. I didn't say it was easy. I said that she needs to do it.
And these people are just like a whole lot. Like I'm not like trying to X myself out universe of like not having new experiences, because totally I need to. But like at the same time, I'm just like, so draining.
I get it, but I feel like when you double back, you just double back to where you left off. Like, unless you're doing a clean start and you're like, listen, this did not work because of this, and that's why we're going to start over now. Like, and you've done an autopsy of why things did not work out the first time. Otherwise, you're just going to keep building on bullshit.
I mean, well, there you have it. What y'all think? Let us know down in the comments.
Let us know in the comments. What should Issa do? Is it okay for her going back to Daniel? Also, I mean, not Daniel, Jesus Christ, Nathan. Also, let us know whose side are you on? We're not on a side. We're on the side of the
team Lawrence or team Condola, and then team Nathan?
How do you feel about the Lawrence and Condola of it all? Let us know in the comments.
That the horrible twist of this damn show is that Convalescence and Lawrence are gonna work their way back to each other because of the birth of this child, and like that's that. I think that it's gonna happen. They may not stay together, but I felt that in my bones. Okay,
happens every day. So I am curious to see. They did a teaser about something happening to one of Molly's parents, maybe.
I never get to see. So I have HBO Max, but it doesn't show me like the previews for the next episode, so you can see like what's happening. So I have no clue. I just watch it and see.
Yeah. So it seems like the whole her pushing for them to get wills in the first or second episode may have been a little bit of foreshadowing, but we're gonna see.
I don't need nothing to be triggering. Jesus.
Yeah. Anyways, comment below. Let us know. Like, comment, subscribe. And we'll talk to you next time.
Yeah, let us know if insecure is triggering you too, or it's just me. Okay.
Boy, you know you make me float. Boy, you really get me high.